He was once the ultimate Hollywood fantasy. With smouldering eyes, a quiet charisma, and effortless charm, Richard Gere became the face of romantic cinema. Audiences didn't just watch him, they believed in the magic he conjured. From the steamy allure of American Gigolo to the fairy tale wonder of Pretty Woman, he defined what it meant to be the leading man. Yet behind the tuxedos, the perfectly tailored suits, and the iconic smile, Gere was a man living between two worlds, the dazzling glow of Hollywood fame and the inward quest for meaning. This tension would shape both his career and the choices that eventually removed him from the spotlight. Early life in upstate New York. Long before Hollywood called, Richard Tiffany Gere was a shy, thoughtful boy growing up in Syracuse, New York. Born on August 31, 1949, in Philadelphia, he was the second of 5 children in a working-class family. His father, Homer, sold insurance, while his mother, Doris, managed the home with a blend of warmth and discipline. Money was scarce, but the household was rich in values, duty, creativity, and spiritual reflection. From an early age, Richard displayed a natural curiosity that pulled him in 2 directions: athletics and the arts. Gymnastics gave him discipline, while music offered him emotional release. This duality would define the choices he made for the rest of his life. The call of the arts at North Syracuse Central High School, Gere excelled in gymnastics, winning a scholarship to study philosophy at the University of Massachusetts. Yet alongside his athletic talent, he discovered music. He taught himself trumpet, guitar, and piano, finding in music a channel for emotions he couldn't yet articulate. Simultaneously, the theatre began to call him. Philosophy classes introduced him to questions of existence, purpose, and belief, deepening his sense of self. Torn between the discipline of the body and the longing of the spirit, Gere made a pivotal decision. He would leave gymnastics and pursue the stage. It was a choice that would set him apart from his peers and define the trajectory of his life. Early struggles in New York. By the early 1970s, Gere moved to New York City, carrying his guitar and dreams of acting. The city wasn't immediately welcoming. His quiet presence and introspective demeanor made him an unlikely candidate for immediate success. Yet persistence and talent began to open doors. His first significant break came in the London stage production of Grease, years before John Travolta would make the role iconic. Gere's portrayal was raw, magnetic, and quietly commanding. These years also marked the start of his spiritual journey. Gere embraced Buddhism, seeking teachers and travel that would deepen his understanding of meditation, compassion, and the value of inner truth, even as he chased a career in a world obsessed with fame. Breaking into Hollywood, Gere's early film roles in the 1970s were modest, almost forgettable, but something in his quiet confidence drew casting directors' attention. In 1978, his role in Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven marked him as a distinctive presence, introspective, soulful, and undeniably handsome. The boy from Syracuse, once unsure of his place in the world, now stood on the edge of destiny. Hollywood began to notice a different kind of leading man, one who exuded calm magnetism rather than overt bravado. Yet even as opportunities arrived, Gere remained selective. He rejected roles that didn't align with his sensibility, illustrating a rare balance between artistic integrity and public expectation, a balance many of his peers could not sustain. The romantic icon. By the 1980s and 1990s, Gere became the embodiment of desire and sophistication on screen. American Gigolo introduced audiences to a new standard of glamour and allure. Pretty Woman cemented his status as the ultimate romantic leading man, adored by millions. His marriage to supermodel Cindy Crawford made them Hollywood's golden couple. Off-screen, he retained an air of mystery, rarely chasing publicity. Yet beneath the allure, Gere remained a seeker, questioning the nature of success and fulfillment. His fame was immense, yet he never allowed it to dictate the terms of his life. The leading man audiences adored was also a man quietly wrestling with meaning and the cost of compromise. Activism and the price of Principal Gere's commitment to personal principles often came at a professional cost. His advocacy for Tibet, a cause he pursued passionately, alienated some in Hollywood. Opportunities dwindled, roles shrank, and his once constant presence on red carpets faded. Yet Gere never compromised. For him, moral clarity and compassion outweighed celebrity. While many peers clung to fame at any cost, Gere chose to align his actions with his values. This decision, while costly in terms of visibility, reflected the man he truly was: thoughtful, principled, and unafraid to stand alone. He became an example of what it means to prioritize conscience over convenience in an industry built on image. Legacy on film. Despite retreating from the limelight, Gere's artistic legacy endured. Films like An Officer and a Gentleman, Chicago, Arbitrage, and Norman stand as testaments to his craft, showcasing his ability to convey depth, vulnerability, and grace. To audiences, he will always be Edward Lewis, the sophisticated businessman in Pretty Woman, or the alluring figure in American Gigolo. To those who know his life beyond the screen, he is a man who chose meaning over spectacle, who understood that fame is fleeting, but integrity is lasting. Gere's journey illustrates that an actor's truest performance may not happen in front of cameras, but in the life they choose to lead. The man behind the role's friends describe Gere as kind, introspective, and endlessly searching. Even at the height of fame, he seemed partially removed from it, living in a space between ambition and detachment. He never sought to dominate Hollywood circles or chase every opportunity. Instead, he allowed his path to unfold with deliberate care. In this way, Gere's life challenges conventional definitions of success. He demonstrated that the essence of achievement is not public adoration or box office dominance, but alignment between one's actions, values, and sense of purpose. For Gere, the stage, the screen, and even fame itself were vehicles for exploration, not ends in themselves. Reflection and enduring questions. Richard Gere's story invites reflection on the cost of staying true to oneself in a world built on illusion. He gave up a crown of fame that few could have imagined relinquishing. Yet in that choice, he discovered a deeper peace that eluded many of his contemporaries. Hollywood may have moved on, but cinema remembers him. His life poses a lingering question. Will he be remembered as the romantic prince who defined an era, or the man who prioritized conscience over applause? Perhaps he is both, and perhaps his most enduring legacy is the courage to define success on his own terms. Conclusion. Richard Gere's life transcends the narrative of fame and celebrity. It is a story of a man who embraced complexity, who balanced artistry and spirituality, who chose principle over popularity. While the world may recall him through iconic roles and timeless romance, the truth of his life lies in quiet conviction, moral courage, and the relentless search for meaning. Gere stepped away from the spotlight, but in doing so, he illuminated a path that many admire but few pursue. In a world obsessed with illusion, he reminds us that the greatest role we ever play may be the one we live in alignment with our own soul.